The Security Summit on Nigeria in Paris, France, is pointed to the fact that the scope of Boko Haram's threat has widened, corroborating President Jonathan's belief that the group's activities are not just a Nigerian problem. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Amarachi Ubani explains why the Paris meeting could be the push African leaders need to tackle terror.
About 3 hours, leaders have finally come out of their meeting here in Paris, probably with the strongest action they have taken on Boko Haram since its activities began in 2009. All of them agree that Boko Haram is a regional problem, not just for Nigeria. I'm looking at some of the recommendations and conclusions of this meeting today. Nigeria and her neighbors have decided that they will build analysis and response capabilities that will contribute to enhancing the security of all populations and the rule of law in the affected areas, affected by Boko Haram's terrorist activities. This is coming months after Nigeria had tried to get its West African neighbors to join in the fight against Boko Haram. French interest in the cooperation is understandable. France has about 4,000 troops in Mali and troops scattered between Niger and the Central African Republic. There had been fears that the insurgency in Nigeria's northeast would cause more problems for her smaller neighbors. It was exceptionally pleasing then to see the Cameroonian President Paul Biya at the weekend summit held in Paris, France. Boko Haram insurgents have been known to flee Nigeria into the country after carrying out their attacks. There were even rumors that the 200 girls kidnapped from Borno State had been smuggled into the country. President Goodluck Jonathan has explained why troops have not moved into Cameroon to investigate.
And the Boko Haram have cells, of course, in Cameroon, just like they are in Nigeria, they are in Central African Republic, they are in South Sudan, they are in Niger. So when they cross the border and devastate communities and, of course, run back to Cameroon, internationally, Nigerian military cannot move into Cameroon except you take special permission. And of course, during our operation, there's no room for you to take permission to enter.
Cameroon is now more concerned about its security, and the murder of a Cameroonian soldier and 10 Chinese nationals kidnapped after a Boko Haram attack north of the country raises fears the country has been infiltrated by the terror group. Niger, on the other hand, has more to worry about. International efforts are ongoing in the north to tackle Islamist groups in the Sahara, following a French-led offensive last year against al-Qaeda-linked militants who had occupied Mali. In the south, there is the potential spillover from Boko Haram's insurgency. There have been a number of incidents, including foiled kidnapping of officials, the seizure of arms and arrest of militants. The head of the military, General Seni Garba, said several Boko Haram members trained by militants in Mali were arrested last year after returning with weapons and ordered to lie low in the southern town of Madoa.
Boko Haram is no longer the local terror group with some religious sentiment that started in Nigeria in 2002 to 2009, from 2000 to 2004. From 2009 to date, it has changed and is operating clearly as an al-Qaeda organization, can better be described as al-Qaeda in West and Central Africa. It's no longer the Boko Haram that came with the sentiments that Western education is prohibited and that women must not go to school, nobody should attend a formal institution based on Western education. It's no more operating under that guise.
But African leaders have shown a lack of coordination of efforts to contain the crisis. But better late than never. The regional leaders have now agreed to include international help, which will include accelerating the implementation of international sanctions against Boko Haram and Saro and their main leaders within the United Nations framework as a priority.
So we are all coordinated, we are all focused. This doesn't stop at borders. Terrorism does not know borders, and so we are going to work in a collective manner to get the job done.
We can help with that. That is why we're offering to embed military advisors with the Nigerian headquarters. We work with Nigeria in many other ways on counterterrorism.
From the presidential palace here at the Champs-Élysées, Paris, I am Amarachi Ubani, reporting for Channels Television News.
The Director of Defense Information, Major General Chris Olukolade, says efforts are being intensified towards ensuring that the schoolgirls abducted from Chibok in Borno State by Boko Haram insurgents are rescued alive. General Olukolade, who disclosed this at a joint news briefing in Abuja, says aircraft belonging to some allied forces are already stationed in some West African countries with the aim of supporting the Nigerian Air Force in the rescue operations. Coordinator of the National Crisis Information Management Center and Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Michael Mary, added that the international coalition against Boko Haram is part of efforts by the federal government to stem the tide of insecurity in the country.
When discussion, when collaboration, and we're exchanging notes on various issues. But at the moment, you must know that for aircraft to take off, we don't. The immense surveillance that is ongoing has been done by the Nigerian Air Force. So that's satisfying. But that does not rule out the fact that, for instance, and I'm saying for instance, again, for instance, the American forces have their aircrafts in neighboring countries. Are you aware of that? So that will give you a message. If they are needed for this operation, when we have sorted our issues, we will let you know. I reaffirm to you that as we sit here, approvals are ongoing in the entire Northeast, and with special focus around where we believe we need to secure our borders. Active controls are going on air and on land.
The threat of Boko Haram is not just a Nigerian problem, but has become a regional challenge. Accordingly, Mr. President reiterates his commitment to providing total security for Nigerians, irrespective of their circumstances of birth or living. Another attempted attack was foiled early this morning by members of the security forces also in Kano. This underscores the heinous nature of the activities of Boko Haram, for which the government has continuously advised citizens to be security conscious of their environments.